Today's video's goal is 100 likes. Sweet and simple. My Spotify, Twitch, and other socials are in the description. Be sure to follow on all socials to stay up to date with projects, giveaways, polls, and much more. Good evening. Today's video is going to be a little different. Today we'll be going over a short history of the Driskill Hotel in Austin, Texas. We're going to go through the facts as well as some of the stories and claims of the hotel. By the end of this video, I would love to hear your thoughts. And have you ever stayed in this hotel? First, let's start with what we know. Jesse Driskill was a successful cattle baron. He had moved to Texas from Missouri in 1849. Flush with cash from his service of the Confederate Army, to which he supplied beef throughout the Civil War, he decided to diversify by constructing a grand hotel in Austin. In 1884, Driskill purchased land at the corner of 6th and Brazos for $7,500 and announced his plans for the hotel. The completion date was 1886. It's the oldest operating hotel in Austin and a member of the Historic Hotels of America. You had noteworthy guests such as Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Bill Murray, and we can't forget Lyndon Johnson and Claudia Taylor, who would eventually marry. Now that we've got the facts out of the way, let's get to why you were here. The stories. Here are the stories that we have of the Driskill Hotel. This story goes that in 1887, just 1 year after the Driskill opened its doors, the 4-year-old daughter of U.S. Senator fell to her death when she tripped and tumbled down the grand staircase in the lobby while chasing a ball. Visitors had reported the sound of giggling and a bouncing ball as evidence that this young lady haunts the hotel. Out of this tragedy, the legend grew that Samantha Houston's ghost haunts the painting of the little girl. It said that some of the visitors claimed to have stared at the little girl in the painting and seen her expressions change. Others report feeling ill when looking at the painting or a strange sensation of being levitated. But what do you guys think? Samantha Houston? Haunting? Or just myth? Then we move on to the story of Peter Lawless. He was a railroad man who lived at the Driskill for 31 years until his death in 1917. Some say his spirits still haunt the hotel to this day. Guests and employees have reported seeing Lawless in the hotel lobby elevators. He can often be seen walking out the elevator, checking his railroad watch, nodding to the staff, and then disappearing. Others report that the elevators have a mind of their own, taking guests to the correct floor without anyone pushing a button. Then we move on to the first of the so-called suicide brides. Here's the story. A young groom canceled his wedding, which was scheduled to take place in the hotel the night before the ceremony. Distraught and heartbroken, the bride-to-be retreated to her room where she hanged herself. Guests of the hotel report sightings of this ghost bride, who was reportedly seen wearing her wedding gown while wandering the halls of the 4th floor. But what do you guys think? And now, the second of the suicide brides. Yet, we've had trouble uncovering the details of her story. The gist of it is, exactly 20 years to the day, in the same hotel room was the original suicide bride. A second young bride took her life in the bathroom while on her honeymoon. After this second rumored death gathered some attention, the hotel room's 525 became notorious for its bad karma. But once again, what do you guys think of these suicide brides? Next, we move on to a short, brief summary of Driskill Hotel Room 429. I dug and dug and I could not find much on this. If you know anything, please let me know. It's home to a woman who has committed suicide there. Spirit of a female. Even the hotel staff had reported that they had listened to a woman crying on the floor when there was no one on the floor. That's all I could find on Driskill Hotel Room 429. Granted, it is about 8 a.m. in the morning and I have not slept, so if you know more about this room, drop it down below. Next, we move on to the Maximilian Room. It's named for the Mexican Emperor Maximilian and contains mirrors that he commissioned for his wife, Carlotta, before he was killed in an uprising. They were beautifully crafted in France but never delivered. 3 years after Carlotta died, the Driskill purchased the mirrors and hung them in an elegant new dining room, often used for weddings. Legend has it that a mysterious white lady is sometimes seen reflected in the mirrors. Some suggest that it is the apparition of the Empress Carlotta. But what do you think? You have any stories on this mirror? Finally, we end with Colonel Driskill himself. Passing away just 4 years after the completion of his hotel, it is believed that Jesse Lincoln Driskill's spirits remain alive in his beloved hotel. Over the years, both staff and guests have reported the smell of cigar smoke floating through the air and lights flickering on and off on the hotel's upper floors. The lead singer for the group Concrete Blonde wrote the song "Ghost of a Texas Ladies' Man" after her supposed encounter with the colonel while staying at the Driskill. So, what do you think? Is the Driskill Hotel haunted? Have you ever stayed there? Do you believe these stories? Or is there not enough evidence? Let me know what you think below. This is my first episode in this series and would love to do more. One day, we're going to investigate some of these locations if possible. If you have any suggestions for me to look into, drop them below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up and consider checking out my creepypastas. I upload daily creepy content, so be sure to sub and keep the bell on if you're as addicted to paranormal stories, history, and landmarks as me. Well, this is CreepySauce. I'm on to the next location.